like our other two runners are ready though, so let's get this show on the road. What do we think here?
I'm thinking Lincoln. Sorry, I'm thinking Arby's. Sorry, I'm thinking, yeah, we should just go ahead and do this.
All right. There we go. So Jexvrok's on the left-hand side with the black and purple. EnsignWesley with the default blue and white. And I think we're about ready to start this, so we'll give our runners a 30-second warning. So we have seen this particular flag set just in the previous race, but why don't you give us a slight recap for those that have just getting here, Gar?
Absolutely. So real quick, with Shadow's flag set, you win in the Coliseum, you get the auto image status, very powerful, everyone loves it. You start with an additional 5 vigor and 5 speed. If you're so inclined, you can go and kill Sid and get a high tier item. No party split is on, so the fewer people that are in your party, the more each individual person gets, along with an X8 multiplier. Gold multiplier is times 10, but you don't get anything for selling in shops, so you're going to have to farm it from random encounters. You start with 50k. You can Y NPC remove to get to places you normally can't get to, and no free progression is on. That's the quick and dirty of it.
Yeah,
Let's see what our racers have in store for us.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this a little bit more, as the seed goes on, but we do start off with Shadow with his default vanilla command of throw. The other characters that we recruit will have a command based on what the seed decides to give them. And as we start the timer here, we get our +5 speed and +5 strength. And who are our characters? Locke and Mog. So we're going to be all Narsh all the time here, folks, with Mog with Morph and Locke with Lore. We do start with a few lores. Unfortunately, they are all gutter tier garbage, so we will not be...
I see Stone and Pep up there, okay? I actually used Pep up once, and it was useful.
Well, Pep up, I guess, could be useful in a seed where there is split XP, right? So, hey, you never know. It's kind of like Exploder. It's the opposite of Exploder, really, actually.
Yeah. So both of our runners heading into World of Balanced Narsh.
Actually, I believe Wesley is in World of Ruin Narsh. Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry. He's in World of Balanced. I didn't see the wolf jumping away before. You're right.
So... this goes down to something that I'm going to talk about in a future video that I plan on making. And it's, if you start with Mog, is it correct to immediately do Narsh? And I bring this up because if you see a character at Kefka at Narsh, you're probably going to want to go ahead and get it. So, by doing this first, you're not giving yourself a whole lot of opportunity to prepare. So what I like to do with a Mog start is to go elsewhere and loot, and then come back. And I'm curious if that is on their minds, but...
Yeah, I have started ignoring Narsh unless I have one of like 4 characters, Mog being one of them. It looks like Jexy is going to immediately do Lone Wolf and finds a realm at Kefka at Narsh, so that'll be nice for him there. I like to couple in this Lone Wolf check when I have at least 4 or 5 characters in my party, so that this way when I split them up at Kefka at Narsh, I don't have to fight, a few players down. However, with split XP on in this flag set, it's not nearly as big of a deal because you're going to be fighting with a party of 2 or 3 most of the game anyway. And let's see what Lone Wolf has for us here. It is an Aura Lance. So, I don't know. I might have rather have wanted the Ice Shield there than the Aura Lance.
Yeah. But how do you know, right? And at least Mog can equip the Aura Lance.
Blink and you miss it. I did not even see what was here at the Gao Manor check unless Wesley did not pick it up yet.
As far as I can tell, he hasn't picked it. Oh, nope, he did. Never mind. I didn't see it.
He did, and I did not see it.
Keel says, big Genji shield.
So yeah,
you love to see
out of the 3 items we've seen so far, I'd rather have that ice shield that fell off the mountain. But we do have a realm here, which will be really nice to have. Realm has the highest magic power stat normally in the game, so we'll see if Jexy can put that to good use. Meanwhile, over in the world of Ruin Narsh is where EnsignWesley is going. It looks like he'll probably do his lock stuff here.
Yeah, this is more along the lines of what I would do. Looks like he took off the Moogle Charm to get in some grinding. Unfortunately, this particular fight, not great.
Yeah, so it looks like he's smartly sticking with Shadow in his main party and using Locke, even though Locke's lures are not great. Locke has a much bigger equipable pool than Mog does. You know, he could swing the big beefy swords around. So maybe, you know, Jexy is hoping that later on in the seed he could find one of those big swords to swing around. Wesley taking some grind fights outside of the bucket here at Narsh. Popular grind spot because you have access to a free easy heal. And these enemies are not going to be a problem here.
Yeah, pretty easy to take him down, so we'll probably get a couple more fights here in World of Ruin Narsh before he slaps that Moogle Charm back on and starts doing some checks.
Ooh, hey. Flame Shield or Ragnarok. So another Ragnarok in the weapon shop this seed. Same as last seed.
We've seen 2 elemental seeds as well, so...
Yeah, we'll see what the curse shield is. Last seed, we did not uncurse it. Let's see what we got this seed. It's only 3.
3?
Very
phenomenal. Nice. So we have all the elemental protection here. No big deal.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have that curse shield before doing a couple of those grind fights, but hey, we'll take it now anyway. We'll put it on Mog since he is next to useless anyway, and we'll get ourselves a nice paladin shield right away. One thing Fict is pointing out in the chat is that there are no elemental schemes, I don't think, for Jexvrok, because he only went to the Narsh shops to check around in there.
And see, this is...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nah, go ahead. So there is the question in the chat, if you wanted to tackle
That's exactly what I was gonna go after. So, no party split XP. So basically what that means is after every battle, you'll see an experience gained number. That number is divided by the number of characters that you have and distributed evenly. So in Jexvrok's case, he's got 2 characters. So his XP total that he'll get from this fight will be divided by 2, and it'll be split evenly amongst his 2 characters. If, let's say, Locke dies, his experience will actually be not divided at all. And in our set of flags, the experience that you get from a battle normally is multiplied by 8 and then split on to other characters. So if you have 1 character alive at the end of the fight, it's equivalent to experience times 8. If you have 2, it's equivalent to experience times 4, because that's 8 divided by 2. And so on. So the more characters that you have in your party, the less experience each character gets overall. We do have cranes, but without healing items and without skeins, this will be interesting here, as we've got Wesley in the Coliseum with stone. And there it goes.
So what I was going to say earlier was that, like, this scenario right here is basically why I never go up the cliff without being prepped to do Kefka at Narsh. And that's why I avoid going into Narsh if I have Mog.
Yeah, because if you don't have something to beat this boss, then you're going to be stuck with what Jex is doing and just punching it with your bare hands. Which is never a fun idea.
And there's the bolt too, and that's going to knock him out.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is a big,
like I
fat,
said,
puffy reset.
if he had anything to throw, he'd be fine. And that's why you go shopping. Wesley going up into a floating continent.
All right. Well, at least Jexvrok knows that Realm is up there.
That is information that Wesley is not privy to, so that could be an advantage later on in the seed. But in the immediate future, Jex is a little bit behind Schwantz. And it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from this, because he can. Jexy's very, very good.
Yeah, so Wesley has some levels. He also has that auto image status because he went to the Coliseum. I didn't exactly see what he got. It wasn't very good. Whatever it is that he got. As now,
he
now
got
he's
auto
got
image.
That's really all you need. When he was scrolling through the menu, nothing jumped out on me. Jumped out at me rather on the menu there. Yeah, so the thing about cranes is that one of them absorbs fire and one of them absorbs bolt. And if you use a fire skein, it will attack both. So if you only had fire skeins, there would be no way to ever win that fight because you would constantly be healing one of the two cranes. Alright, so Jex is checking on the weapon shop, and we got our second boss of the seed here on Wesley's screen, and it is my favorite punk band, Risopas and the Piranhas. So this is 5 to 55 seconds of a time loss, depending upon how the seed decides to roll it for you.
It is. It's always 55 seconds for me, it feels like.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So it looks like he's just going to sit here and wait out the timer a little bit.
Yeah, so shout out to us for pulling double duty for sure, but also shout out to our runners for being patient and waiting for the other race to finish as we got them set up here. Also, I'm not sure why the sound is all messed up. Jexvrok's is like pitch shifted and Wesley's is non-existent, so I don't know what the heck's going on. Blame the streamer.
It's Jexy's fault somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Even for Wesley's side. Jexy did something.
All right, that's boss number 1 down for Wesley. Now, Floating Continent offers you 3 parts, so you'll get up to 3 rewards. The first and third will always be progression, either a character or an Esper. The second is a chance of being Esper item, and you fight 4 bosses. This is the second boss. You do get an automatic heal before this boss, but this is not a fun one, Gar.
I think that actually Wesley will be fine here. He's not scaled at all. And he's got fire skeins, which are doing just tons and tons of damage. So should be fairly easy to get through this.
Yeah, we've got a Ragnarok swinging from Locke, and we've got some skeins with a pair of earrings, I think, because we did see some earrings in the relic shop at Narsh. And that's that boss down. We don't yet know what Mog is going to be doing this seed. Mog usually has decent magic power, and we don't have any Espers to throw on him yet, although we could have had an Ice Shield and could have had a Flame Shield. And that's our first Esper there for Wesley on the ground. I'm going to mark it even though he hasn't picked it up yet.
Why remove the Esper?
Yeah, you better not. That is Unicorn, which is pretty helpful for the endgame boss. It will heal all of your status ailments. It basically is a party-wide remedy, so that's good if Kefka or Tier 3 decide to make you take a ride on the train. Come on the train
that he's not going
and ride
it. And ride it. Woo woo.
Yep, we're continuing the musical references here.
Interesting that Wesley didn't open the monster in a box there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like if it's Katana Soul, that's cool. You can probably kill it. Maybe you don't have an immediate use for the offering, but there is a decent chance that with no free progression, that you'll get something that's useful there, or like you find an Atmo weapon in a shop or something.
I wholeheartedly disagree. There is no reason to fight that monster in a box. Locke is using Ragnarok. Shadow's using Throw. We don't really need an offering.
I want an offering. Also, that could have been Gigantos. Every monster in a box
That's
you don't
true.
open is Gigantos.
Well, Wesley already saw that the monster in a box in Narsh in the classroom is Gigantos. So we know where that one is. So Gigantos is great because Gigantos is the most XP per level of any boss in the game, and that's Fire 3 on that Esper. So that's what Mog's doing the rest of the seed. So we got our party of 3, ladies and gentlemen, and we're cruising. Setting on the cruise control, and it is Rex Soul. Final Fantasy freestyle in effect.
Rex Soul here is about to get wrecked.
Rex Soul in effect. Anyway, so don't want to throw that Pearl Rod. So even though Rex Soul seems like he's a demon or an undead thing, he actually absorbs both fire and Pearl. So you don't want to do that. We do want to do ice spells, but we don't have that. However, he has pretty low physical defense, so that's why you see chucking some weapons at him and just swinging with a big sword, and down he goes. Boss number 3 killed for Wesley, and we'll see what this reward is here.
So, easy money for EnsignWesley. And let's go Cat Hood. Okay.
Yeah, so there's only 2 or 3 dead checks in a seed with no free progression. We already know where one of them is with Lone Wolf, right? So, yick, more level magics. Yeah, we're at 15 minutes in the seed already, and Wesley is almost done with the floating continent. So he saw Throw, he saw the Ragnarok, and he said, "I'm just gonna go," which is something that, you know, a lot of runners, myself included, have trouble with. Is how good is good enough at the beginning of the seed, and when you have Throw, good enough, that barrier gets lower and lower, right?
It's minimal. I've said before, you know. You find some skeins, you find some earrings, and then you're, go off to the races.
Yep, so that other Magicite also had Fire 3 and Stop. The Stop will be good if we find Spicy Chicken.
Yeah, a lot of juicy offense here for this seed.
So it looks like Jexvrok is going to do the shield uncurse, and what he did is he equipped the curse shield after the battle starts, so he doesn't have to worry about the nasty status effects, because I don't think either of our runners found a peace ring or a ribbon yet. So good heads up play there for Jex. And Wesley is going to take this third boss, and he will get a peace ring from this fight, so very nice.
We just saw Kefka, and here he is at the end. It's on brand.
There we go. Technically, this is the end of the first half of the game, so fighting Kefka at the end of the first half and the end of the second half of the game is pretty in canon. So we'll see what this is here. If it's a NPC sprite, we are getting a Magicite. If it's a character sprite, then we've got our character, and that's a merchant.
So that is a merchant. So
3 for 3 for Espers there on the floating continent.
EnsignWesley at this point is a full floating continent and a full Coliseum ahead of Jexvrok. So he is absolutely flying.
Yeah, so we did see Jex loot South Figaro in the basement, so that is time that Wesley is essentially going to give back to Jexvrok here by doing the same. But other than that, you know, we have the early lead because of the early wipe at the top of Kefka at Narsh here.
Yeah. Raven's Prodigy in chat saying, "Hello all, great day for a race." We agree, and that's why we decided to do, I think we're doing 3 of them today?
No, we're not. Well,
no.
I'm only doing 2, so... We do normally have a Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern community race, so we'll see if anybody is around to actually do that. Who knows? Maybe I'll feel frisky a little bit later and do that as well. But we also do Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on this channel, And we have a Wednesday 8 p.m. Eastern slot on Speed Gaming. So that's usually where you'll find us doing some races. We also have a YouTube channel, FF6 Worlds Collide. We have a Twitter at FF6_WC. We have an Instagram at FF6WC. So go follow us on all the stuff.
Please and thank you.
Oh yeah, and I've totally forgot. Fitz is also going to be doing at 4 a.m. Eastern. Technically it's Sunday, but it's either do you want to stay up or do you want to wake up? He will be doing a session for the Winter Final Fantasy Randomizer Marathon to raise money for the South Carolina Burn Children's Fund. So if you'd like to set your alarm clocks for 4 a.m., wake me up, and hopefully he doesn't get go-go for his run there.
All right, I had a bad one earlier. That one was pretty bad.
Listen, we're trying to entertain the people here.
You're bad. You're bad. You know it.
All right, so Wesley is trudging through the basement here. We'll pick up all the juicy treasure. That's first boss down there for Jex. So nice recovery from him. Nice recovery from him after losing some time earlier in the seed to that wipe. So
absolutely
going to bounce back here.
I did pick up a fat stack of fire skeins, so should be able to get through this no problem.
Yep. Atma is susceptible to the 3 main elements of the game: fire, ice, and thunder or bolt. It will absorb actually the rest, so you don't want to use anything else on him. So don't use those water skeins, use those fire skeins. All right, and Wesley says, "Screw your airship, I'm taking a walk."
Yeah, I think that's a little bit faster.
Yeah, because you have to there are multiple screen transitions, right? And each screen transition, I think, is like 2 to 3 seconds, something like that. So I don't hate that. I also don't hate having mute available to me early in the game on that Phoenix Esper.
Yeah, nah. Some very, very powerful Espers here. And Jexy is going to get them shortly.
Yeah, so we'll see if he decides to YNPC remove the boss, because he might be feeling a little behind after his unfortunate early game shenanigans. So we'll see if that happens. He also forgoes the monster in a box, which is the correct decision. I think, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. But how about an Ultras 4?
Instead of split XP, we have no XP for this fight.
Yeah, Ultras 4, in my opinion, the worst fight. It doesn't count as a boss kill. It doesn't give you experience or magic points.
Whoa. It doesn't count as a boss kill?
It sure doesn't.
That is disgusting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, because of sneeze, I guess, huh?
Yeah. It counts for fight completion, but not for a boss kill.
Well, all right. So I just saw his counter on the tracker go up. So they must have did some sort of coding, something to code it into the game that it counts as a boss.
I don't know.
Ooh, strength plus 2 on that.
I seem to remember any time I've done Ultras 4, it has never counted.
All right, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if the tracker is right or if it doesn't count as a boss. But either way, I agree with you. It's one of the worst bosses to see. No XP, never fun. No MP either.
No MP, nothing. So EnsignWesley going to take a look at the cave on the Veld. Going to see the best boy, Interceptor.
There he is. Now, we're going to see what's on the ground here, because we're running out of spots to find our character that isn't Realm at Kefka at Narsh. So in the chat, we have sort of a question about doing a vanilla run before getting into the randomizer. That certainly will help, as you do need a lot of vanilla Final Fantasy VI knowledge. All of the boss weaknesses are all the same as they are in the main game. Knowing the areas or the story points will help, because they're not changed from the main game as well. There's a lot of vanilla knowledge that you need in order to do the randomizer, but there's also a lot of randomizer-specific knowledge, like this check here that EnsignWesley is doing. You could actually peek it before you decide to take the boss, and there is an Esper on the ground, and that means that we're going to get rewarded with an Esper after this fight is done.
Yeah, so I think maybe one of the harder aspects of Worlds Collide, the randomizer, to get your head around is the concept of character gating in general. But for vanilla knowledge, we have a great resource at ff6wc.com, and we have a link to the wiki there, and the wiki in turn has links to a whole treasure trove of information about this game. Anything that you could ever want to know is all concentrated right there.
Or if it's not in the wiki, if you join the Discord, somebody will help you out. There's a lot of really great people that are willing to jump in and brag. I mean, share their knowledge of this wonderful game. So Wesley here deciding with Mog to use the Morph command. Morph will double the damage of anything you do while you're morphed. And since Doom is a rather difficult boss, this is a great strategy, especially for dealing a lot of damage here, as he knows that Doom is weak to Pearl. Out comes the Pearl Rod. It'll do double damage. We'll probably see quad 9s, and that'll be the end of this Doom here. And boom.
Yeah.
Just as I said it is done. And that's another Esper for him.
And Wesley just flying through these checks, cutting through it like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah, so there's, even though we concentrate here on the Twitch channel on races because it's fun to see the back and forth, there's a lot of Worlds Collide players that will just play just to try and see if they could navigate and figure out their way through the seed, right? Because there is a logical path through these seeds of, well, how do I get to the requirements in order to unlock Kefka? So it doesn't necessarily have to be race related, right? I do suggest watching races when you're, or as you're starting to learn how to play, because I learned a heck of a lot of things by just watching races, even before I started downloading a seed for myself.
Oh yeah, same here. I know that personally. I'm a convert who came over from after the Games Done Quick run this past year, or this past event, I guess.
Yep.
Summer Games Done Quick 2022. That's where I first heard about it, and I joined basically right after it, and it was, I've had a blast ever since, as evidenced by my still being here.
We didn't scare you off, all right.
Not yet. I don't know, that Double Down fellow, he's kind of terrifying.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding. Double Down is...
Every time I get away, they just keep pulling me back in. So yeah, so Jexvrok now deciding to go over to the World of Ruin. I would imagine, yeah, he's hitting the Coliseum up first, and then we'll see where he decides to go. It looks like Wesley, however, is going to be doing that Narsh loop with Lone Wolf and with Kefka at Narsh, so we'll see if he has better luck against the Cranes than Jexy did. And we'll see if Jexy can dig out something better than Wesley. Got a red jacket for a memento ring is okay. Oh, this is a disgusting fight, though.
Dark Force it's doable. In the vanilla game, this is one of the enemies at the very...
Oh, no.
He just...
Coliseum AI gonna AI. Oh, man.
You love it. So EnsignWesley taking down the Gigantos. Gonna get a whole metric ton of experience there.
Yeah, especially doing that fight after doing the Coliseum means that he has auto image on, and Gigantos' attacks are basically all physical attacks. So, very nice to do. Good heads up play there. Alright, well let's see if we get some pep up action, and looks like Jexvrok smartly decides, you know what? I'm going to leave my lore user on the bench here.
So, Dark Forces, they are a little bit mean, like I was saying. They base in the vanilla game. They do, I think, all of the blue magics, or a good chunk of them.
Yes, you could learn basically every single lore from this fight. I hope he casts Pearlwind again, because we want to learn that. I don't care about level 5 Doom.
Yeah, seeing the Pearlwind again would be nice. We don't want to see like Revenge or Stone would be pretty devastating.
So, we did see a character in the Yeti Cave. I didn't get to see exactly who it was, but I saw a sprite up there. So if we get Umaro, we know that the reward for that is going to be a character. We'll see if Wesley decides to gamble on the Merchant or take the Ice Shield. And, oh, very nice,
hey,
Shadow.
nice.
The opposite of Pep up there. There he goes. He gets that image and the red jacket as well. Wesley going to be disappointed with that Aura Lance. However, he looks poised to get Realm here. And depending upon what Realm has, we'll see if Wesley decides to keep her in the party or maybe just substitute her in for Mog here. Because Mog is, I don't mean to be not PG-13, but we have a naked Moogle. I didn't see any armor on Mog.
Yeah. So, assuming that Realm stats are even remotely decent, normally she has like really, really high magic power, and we do have Fire 3. So, if there's going to be a replacement, I would expect that Mog would be substituted for Realm.
Yeah, so big shout out to Raiden's Prodigy for that tier 1 sub. You have access to some cool custom emotes, including a little spicy chicken action. So if we come up against the spicy chicken at any time during this race, I give permission to spam.
Oh, Jexvrok finding an ice shield in what is that, Albrook?
Yeah, very nice. So
on the dock there.
In Albrook, normally you could only loot 5 of the 6 treasure chests in the World of Balance, but with YNPC remove, we could just yeet the Magitech armor out of the way, and we've got ourselves an elemental shield, which is nice.
Yeah, Wesley throwing some water edges, shorting out the crane. Niles and Frazier.
Mechanical stuff is weak to water, after all. Alright, so we'll see what Jexvrok does. We'll see if he decides... It looks like he's going to go sequence break into Magitech Factory here.
Okay, so Wesley does decide to bench the Moogle. See, this is one of the situations where I think it would have been defensible to bring 4 of them. And hey, how about Atma weapons there in that shop?
Yeah, I mean, we already have a Ragnarok that Locke is using. I would have checked to see who else would have been able to equip the Atma weapon at least, but we at least know that's where it is for later. The thing with taking 4 characters versus 3 is when you have 4 characters, your characters with this set of options with the split XP flag set off, right? Or... It's like a double negative flag. Anyway, with split with split XP, you're gonna earn less levels per character with 4 party members versus 3. So, yeah, I think it might be a little too early in the seed to go with 4. But then again, you know, if you could defeat bosses that much faster, it doesn't really matter what your levels are.
Yeah, it's like, and it's in this particular case too, because Mog has Morph, right? Because for Morph to work correctly, you want that person to participate in battles that reward magic points. Every time they do, they get a little bit of time added to that Morph timer up to some cap. I don't know. The cap isn't very important. So Morph doubling your magic power is very, very strong. So even, like, I think Mog had something like 38, so you're looking at 70, 76?
That's some quick maths.
That's pretty good. Anyway.
And we've got a Guardian here in the Magitech factory. I mean, it seems appropriate for that kind of machinery to be here.
Oh, yeah. I don't...
We do have some water, and we do have Jex also showing off the morph command here. Very nice to see. These two runners are pretty seasoned vets, and they're really good, so they know how to use the different commands. Great to see here. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side of the screen, we are in Owzer's Mansion, which is one of Realm's 2 checks, along with Esper Mountain. So Wesley sees Realm and immediately goes, well, I'm going to go chase Realm checks, because that is... Hopefully, Jex did not get to this spot yet, and I might have even bigger of a lead, snowballing to see what is at these checks here.
Yes, indeed. And that's one of the quirks of the randomizer, where characters that are newly recruited are more likely to have other character checks behind them. It's a detail that isn't very well studied, in my opinion, but that is the case. So
yeah, it's just due to the way that the algorithm is done. There's sort of a mathematical model for it that kind of Worlds Collide fits into.
Yeah.
And as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I have to say about that. So we'll see what's at the end of Owzer's Mansion here. We'll see what or who is painting this very nice portrait. He chooses incorrectly and goes on the left side of the stairs. I always go on the right side of the stairs there.
I'm a left stairs kind of guy.
Oh, no.
Ooh. We'll see if he passes the check.
There he goes. So a couple of tough fights here. On the left, we got Jex with Tritok. Only able to be damaged really by defense ignoring things and by fire stuff. Thankfully, we have Fire 3 and we have Fire Skeins, so that's actually not too bad. We did learn the Pearl spell, which is Doomgaze's weakness, so normally these fights are pretty nasty, but I don't think either one of our runners is going to have too much of a difficulty here.
Until Doomgaze starts spamming Doom and doing, that.
There it is.
Yeah, Wesley should be okay here. Doom does have some really nasty AoE stuff, like this arrow spell coming out, which is probably going to knock down Realm again.
Yeah, so if we had a Thunder Shield, that could nullify wind damage. I don't think we have one of those.
Yeah, Fire and Ice, I think, are what we've got so far. Or at least that we've seen.
Yeah, actually, Wind will do double damage if you have an Ice Shield, so that's even worse. Oh man, this is not a fun fight, as Jex decides to go for the end of the minecart ride. Is he going to take this? It looks like he's going to try. Those Ogres those Ogres will cast Zombite and turn your character into a zombie, and those Coverts will throw things at your party. And Jex decides, I've had enough, see you later.
The Zombite does get blocked by Image, which is nice, but the Covert throwing stuff, harder to get away from that.
You could dodge a Dirk, you could dodge a ball.
I can't dodge Dirks.
No. Nope. Yeah, so that's an Esper here for Wesley. Now, since the no free progression flag is on, the auction house will not have any Espers in it. But I usually like to combo the Owzer's Mansion check with the auction house if it's available to get multiple rewards out of one location in the map. I know that the auction house is a rather divisive check in the community. Where do you stand on the auction house?
It's complicated. That's basically where I'm at.
Okay, Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I'll don't get me wrong. It can be very quick. It can hold up to 2 Espers, and if you know how the probabilities work in the auction house, it is very powerful. It does take a significant chunk of gold. I think you're looking at usually 70k.
It's 80 or 90 to buy. Well, 90 to buy everything, but you don't necessarily want to buy the last $10,000 item, so usually it's 80,000. If there are 2 Espers in there.
I can't do math.
Oh no.
Ooh.
And it is Oh My Goddess on the left side and Grandpa on the right side. Little French vanilla action there. Or family vanilla? I don't
Family
know.
vanilla.
Oh
But
no.
there was a choo-choo train stuck in the cave. We better help get him out.
And Goddess decides to put 2 of the 3 party members to sleep there.
Goddess in this particular formation is really rough. Normally, you're supposed to have her surrounded in a pincer attack, but because that's not a thing you can do here, like in the minecart, that bolt edge is going to hit everybody. Lullabies are going to hit everybody. Whereas in a pincer, like that lullaby would only hit one side of the field. So,
Yep.
But down goes the train.
We do thankfully get a story heal after this boss. Don't even know what Strago has, doesn't matter. Wesley is happy with his party. And now we have access to Strago's checks, which include Jexvrok, Fanatics Tower, and the Burning House. So we'll see where Wesley decides to go. He also has available to him Phoenix Cave. So Wesley is, I'm sure, jumping for joy at the options he has.
Yeah, he positively thrilled, I'm sure. So it looks like he's gonna go make a beeline straight for Jexvrok. I don't hate it. I think I would have preferred to see him peek Fanatics Tower first, but like
you still need characters and espers, so it almost doesn't matter what's at this check.
Yeah,
because
I hate
it's
this
one
last.
of the ones you can't peek, right? Yeah, so as Ficta points out, 8 times XP for Shadow here with this Goddess fight. And Locke and Mog will make like Evanescence and come back to life. That was a stretch. That was another terrible. Put that on the.
It's funny
terrible
because
one.
I went and bought groceries today, and I was listening to Evanescence on the way there. So,
all right, and it is Cyan at the end of the minecart ride. So a little sequence break action. We'll see what Cyan has to offer. Natural jump and 40 vigor. If he could equip that Aura Lance, then that's not too bad. Cyan opens up 5 different possibilities. Mount Zozo, the 3-part Cyan's Nightmare check, and the Dome of Siege. So we'll see which way our runners go. And this is one of the great things I love about Worlds Collide is that it's not a key item hunt. There's many different paths to victory, if you will, here, Gar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Cyan's checks are just overall a lot better than anything that Strago has to offer.
Good call. I didn't even think about that.
So now this is interesting because Wesley is still technically ahead.
Yes.
But Jexy has many quicker checks to do.
Yeah, the thing is, since Cyan was gotten technically out of order, and this is now going into more stuff that, not out of order, but out of logic, there's not guaranteed to be a character behind any of Cyan's checks. So this could run into a weird, long, convoluted dead end. There could be a character at the end of Mount Zozo. There could be a character in the second part of Cyan's dream. And there could be a character at Dome of Siege. So we'll see if any of that pans out. Meanwhile, it is Dullahan over on Wesley's screen here.
Yeah, so a pretty average Jexvrok, I would say. Wesley basically got my luck where, you know, you get all your coral pretty quickly, but then you have difficulty actually getting back to the hungry chests. So Jexy finding a hero ring in a chest, that's a great pickup.
Yeah, so question in the chat, is Mount Zozo a free check? It is technically not a free check. And I think it's due to the fact that it's a lot of walking. But yeah, it is not considered a free check.
Pay $1,000 to a definitely not sketchy guy with definitely not sketchy WD-40.
It is literally not a free check because you have to pay $1,000 to do it, right? So, meanwhile, that was an Esper in case you missed it at the end of Jexvrok. So Wesley is going to peek the bottom of Fanatics Tower. We can see what the reward is here. However, you're going to have to climb all the way up to get it. Ooh, that's a Siren Esper with magic
Ooh.
power +2. That's very nice.
Very juicy, although it is a little late in the seed, so not going to get as much mileage out of that as he would like. But still, you'll get, maybe 10 or so more levels. That's 20 extra magic power. And hey, how about a Numoro? How about
Well,
a Yeti?
only the Fanatics could tame the Rampaging Yeti there at the bottom. That is the
They
first dragon down of the seed, by the way, on Jexvrok's screen. Does get a Force Armor out of that. So dragons will give you lots of XP, 50 magic points, their normal drop, which in the Skull Dragon's case I think is a muscle belt, and a high tier item. Plus he
And a
gets an Esper.
partridge in a pear tree. Oh, sorry.
That's not a partridge, that is a dove flying away.
Sorry.
As an avid birder, I
it's the Christmas spirit, okay? I'm sorry.
Oh man. So Esper writing love letters is a bit complicated, but we'll take it. And yeah, we can warp out of here.
Oh, hang on. Which Esper is it though? It's Alexander writing the love letters. Huh.
Yeah. So there is a high tier item at the top, and it is yet another Aura Lance. But we do have to defeat this boss here, and we'll see what this is. Interesting about Fanatics Tower is, much like in the vanilla game, the gimmick is you can only use magic in the tower, and that applies in Worlds Collide as well. Thankfully, we know Fire 3, so hopefully, as I just commentator cursed it, this isn't a fire absorption boss here at the top.
I hope it's Magimaster. Let's bring it all home.
Vanilla?
Yep. No.
It is some noodles. Who's hungry?
Linguini.
Oh! And Shadow coming out? Sorry, I didn't realize we didn't have Shadow already. Speaking of fire-absorbing bosses, we do have Stop, though, somewhere.
Have we seen all of the statue bosses at this point?
Yeah, Doom was in Floating Continent. Goddess was at the end of the Magitech. Well, not at the end, but the first boss in Magitech 3, and now we have Poltergeist. I thought we had Stop on one of these Espers. Maybe Jexvrok does not have Stop. He's got Mute, which is not going to help.
And not here.
Unfortunately, EnsignWesley is out of MP on one of his characters, so that's certainly not going to help where you can only cast magic in the Fanatics Tower.
So, looks like he'll just cast Pearl. Unfortunately, this tentacle is the beefiest one of all. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Yeah, so breaking that ice shield there is Jax here in this fight. He does also use Morph.
Yep.
A lot of weight tricking to keep his character Morph for as long as possible.
Weight tricking is very, very useful. Not only does it maintain that morph as long as possible, it also stops Poltergeist from doing anything. Ooh.
Hey, beefy
And
Shadow. Again. So it is Statue Bosses 0, Shadow 2. So simultaneous boss kills. Unfortunately, Wesley is not going to get the reward until he marches all the way back down here. And since we didn't get the character at the beginning, it is an Esper there that's Golem. So that's one that Wesley might not pick up. So that's pretty important here.
It is big, but unfortunately, Jexy is still on the hunt for a fifth character. And
not going to find it here.
Will not find it here.
All right. Well, we do know Mute somewhere on one of these characters. We'll see if Wesley decides to use it against the White Dragon, because the White Dragon is susceptible to Mute.
And it's got a pretty nasty opener. Anywhere from 1 to 3 Pearl or Pearl-related moves.
We'll drop a Pearl Lance, but I think we already have one of those, or at least we have 2 Aura Lances, which are better than a Pearl Lance anyway. And he's running out of MP, so we better hope that this does it. And there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, White Dragon, I think, is vanilla in Fanatics Tower, if I recall correctly.
That is right.
And there it is. Ficta giving us the confirmation. Thank you, Ficta.
Is Ficta even randomized?
And almost the third
Oh.
statue boss in a row.
Jexy's got to be feeling some type of way right now.
Alright, so the only thing left standing between EnsignWesley and Umaro is some stairs. So he'll be in character go mode. He'll just need 2 Espers. And we know that there is a character at Yeti spot, so we won't want to go up there.
We may want to go halfway up, though.
That's right.
To get the Tritok spot.
Tritok is only an Esper or an item. And this is a you best be annoyed. 2 out of 3 of your characters are frozen.
Poor Jexy. This seed has really given him the business this whole time.
Yeah, so it looks like EnsignWesley is heading right there. I mean, I could be wrong. I thought I had seen a character at the Yeti spot.
There may not be one at the Yeti spot. I can't remember. It is possible that there is a character in Burning House, but I think it is a character there. So we'll see if Wesley remembers what it is.
Or it's possible that he didn't see it. Or didn't take note of it.
Is the
or
boss
it could be
saying you best be frozen when Incross happens? That's a question in chat.
I would assume so, but I don't know if any of these bosses can talk. Doom doesn't look like much of a chatty Cathy, huh?
I think it's the.
It's
I don't know.
It's Ted Woolsey, the omniscient narrator of the game.
You'd best be frozen.
Like the voice of God. Alright, well, Jexvrok has more Espers than EnsignWesley, if that's any consolation to him. But as it appears now, he's going to have to go back and get Realm.
It definitely looks like it. Well, he hasn't done Doa Dream yet, so it is possible that we'll see somebody hopping around the trains there.
Alright, well, Wesley kills another dragon. I'm terrible at keeping track of dragon kills. I think I've got it right, though. Wesley, that was his second.
How cozy.
Alright, and we've got another awful boss here at the top of the Tritok Cliff. So we've seen all the statues, plus Doomgaze, plus Guardian, plus Inferno. So Kefka's Tower is probably going to be pretty easy.
In theory, it should be pretty barren. However, we still have not seen the Magimaster yet, so...
Yeah.
It's possible he's lurking in there. Hopefully not.
Yeah, some of the other bosses I wouldn't want to find either is Behemoth, right? Because if he starts casting like Ultima and Goner, that would not be fun. I hate Air Force, but that's just a personal grudge.
Air Force is very... Like, he doesn't have a lot of HP, but...
Very glass cannon.
Yeah. It's got 2 things, and, like... launcher into shrapnel. It feels bad just every single time.
All right, that's Esper number 8 for EnsignWesley here. It is Ramu. And he's going down to the Yeti Cave, so I might be full of you-know-what. Actually, we'll see on Jexvrok's screen if there's a character here. This is perfect.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's Edgar.
It's Edgar.
Okay. Alright, I'm not crazy, chat. So, Wesley's going to pick up Edgar. I don't know if he's got... I mean, his other options are Burning House and Phoenix Cave. So would you go pick up Edgar, or would you do one of Burning House and Phoenix Cave in his position?
I would probably... How many bosses has he killed?
That's a great question. We're asking all the... He's at 12 now, so he's already got his skip.
If he already has to skip, I would do Phoenix Cave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And heck, you can snag a dragon if you're so inclined while you're there. And hey, how about Dataluma? Hanging out here in the cave, training.
Gotta get swole somehow. Alright, so Jexvrok is gonna get Realm, and then he's got to go to Esper Mountain to get Strago, and then he'll still be one Esper behind his go mode. So we'll see what his next steps are. Meanwhile, we've got a Figabro with Edgar there from the Umaro check.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see where he's going to go now.
Air Force and a Setzer Seed can be nasty. Yeah. Random scaling is just nasty, period. So we did talk about this at the beginning of the stream a little bit. Next week, during round 2 and the first round of Chupan's Pit... Actually, that's not true. During round 2, all of the seeds will be Setzer's Dice. So in case you haven't had a chance to look at the flag set, I'm going to do a command in the chat, and there is a link to the rules and information, and you can check it out. But there's a lot of random in it. Oh, wow!
Ooh.
It is Gao. And here's the thing about Edgar's check is you have to do the engine room in order to open up the ancient castle. And the Figaro throne cannot be a character or an Esper. It must be a high-tier item. So this means that EnsignWesley gambled with going to get Edgar, and it's not going to pay off here, and he's going to head into the Phoenix Cave instead.
Looks like he's loading up Party 1, so probably going to pick up a dragon kill here.
Yeah, so it's interesting, leaving Gao back there, because he has access to the Velt check, which is a pretty fast one, and it's guaranteed to either have an Esper or an item, rather an Esper or a character in normal seeds, right? And it's a pretty fast one. So the problem is if you if you leave Figaro Castle after doing the engine room and the Gao checks are more characters, then you're going to feel even worse than you felt leaving that one behind. So it is a bit of a gamble here. Phoenix Cave usually takes about 3 to 4 minutes, depending upon how careful you are with the HP of your other party, right? And if you want to fight the dragon or not.
Yeah, so EnsignWesley opting to loot here finds a Mega Elixir.
Very nice.
I was just about to say that, I'm not sure at this point how much I agree with that, but then...
Yeah. Every chest you don't check, right?
I guess so.
Schrodinger's chest. Yeah, so it looks like he is damaging his first party. He might just be running through the rest of this one. That chest is kind of on the way. It's literally right there. So it looks like he's skipping all the not on the way chests. So I could see doing that and just getting lucky, right? So.
Yeah. Jexy going into Esper Cave or Esper Mountain, going to pick up his grandpa.
Very nice. So depending upon what this is at the end of the Phoenix Cave, if EnsignWesley strikes out here, we may have a race. I mean, even so, we'll still have a race either way, because being one requirement behind your opponent is still pretty
nothing.
Close.
Yeah.
So boss count for Wesley is 13, so he's already over. For Jexvrok, if his tracker is correct, it's 4, 5, 6, 7. No, his tracker's not. Ugh. All right, I'm gonna have to count it up. Meanwhile, you could continue on here.
Yeah, for sure. So, Wesley coming up against the Dirt Dragon. One of the deadlier ones for sure, especially at later scaling. I feel like this flare will kill it. And he does have water edges. Oh, it didn't kill it.
I think that's 9 for Jexvrok.
There, down it goes. Dirt Dragon is rude because none of your characters are ever floating. Because why would you just randomly cast float on your characters? And it likes to use Quake, and it likes to use Magnitude 8. And both of those abilities do a lot of damage to your whole party. And you're not really going to block any of it.
Yeah, so I thought Jex had not 8 Espers, but his tracker says 7, but his tracker is also not really filled out. I don't know what the heck's going on here. We'll be in for a nice surprise when he finishes Owser's Mansion, because this will get him an Esper. It just depends on if it's a go mode Esper or not. Meanwhile, Wesley is going to find out what's here. And drum roll, please. It's a merchant.
It could be dead.
If it's dead, that's
but
awful.
It is not. All right, so that is go mode for EnsignWesley.
Yeah, so he's got skip and he's got go mode at 59:20-ish. So we'll see if he decides to hop straight into the statues or if he does some shenanigans and trickery. I'm assuming he's just going to split his party up, one of his characters into each slot here. So we'll see what his boss gauntlet looks like. Meanwhile, Jexvrok is fighting through Owser's Mansion. So we'll see if he's in go mode or not.
Yeah, I think that actually that he does have 7 Espers because he's done nothing different than Wesley. And Wes only just now got his 9th.
He's done 2 cyan checks that Wesley hasn't.
Oh, that's true. I totally forgot about cyan. See, this is why remove sucks.
And he also did Magitech Factory, and Wesley didn't do that either. Oh, yeah, so Jex definitely has more bosses. He probably also has over 12, because between Magitech Factory and Floating Continent, that's 8. Even the Vilt is 9. Both of Realm checks will be 11, and then one of the other ones will mean he's got 12, so this will be either his go mode or not.
Yeah, I just totally forgot that he wound up getting cyan.
Yeah, that's the thing is when we're not seeing him in the party because obviously he's just, he was not there to make the final cut. And as predicted, first boss in Kefka's Tower is Tunnel Armor, not a problem there.
All right, chat, what's the next boss? I'm trying to think of what I want it to be. I think it's going to be Welk. Yeah, 2 Stooges. But it is merely Hydon and the Hydonites.
All right, as I should have trusted my instinct as the great tracker that I am. That is go mode for Jexvrok there with his 9th Esper. So he's about to hop right behind Wesley unless he does a lot of shopping here. So anybody's race, ladies and gentlemen.
Leader Narapa Ultras 1. Okay. Well, one of those will not be the case.
Well, I mean, the 2 seeds I think are running into one another, but Ultros 1 I think was at the throne room or not the throne room, the engine room in the last seed. Yeah, because Wesley noped out of it, so he didn't go down there. So we don't know what's in the engine, this seed. So Ultra Swan is still out there. And we'll see. It looks like Jexvrok is heading into the tower. So here's the thing. EnsignWesley has 2 more dragons and 1 more character than Jexvrok does. So even though Jex's levels are a little bit low... Oh, never mind. His Shadow's 40. Even though his levels were, I thought, low, but they're not, his bosses are going to be easier by, let's see, 1, 2, 3 times 2.5. They'll be easier by 8 levels. And that's a lot.
That's pretty big. And this is merely a flame eater.
Yep, so far nothing crazy. Hiding in the Hide Knights is annoying, but when we have both fire and pearl spells, we're good to go. It'll come down to execution and who's got the better offense.
That was a thick meteor by Realm there.
Yeah, Meteor is a non-elemental spell, even though it's a bunch of space rocks. It's got pretty decent damage, and it ignores defense, but it also has very high cast, MP cast.
Yeah, high cast time. It does not do split damage, so the damage it deals on one target is the same as more than one. So it can be very useful, especially against multi-target bosses like Tier 2, for example.
Yeah, so Jexvrok going with a party of just singletons, it looks like, through most of his stuff.
Yeah, and I think that this is totally defensible. He's got a paladin shield, so basically nothing can kill him other than, those nasty non-elemental attacks.
Yeah, and if you're really worried, take one down, pass it around.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Jex's levels are actually slightly higher than Wesley's, and his opponents are slightly weaker than Wesley's, so we'll see if Jexvrok can catch up some time here. He's going to have to hurry, though, because I think Wesley is done with the middle path and the right path, and only has the left path to go.
Have we seen what's on the left path yet?
That is a no. So get your predictions. Who is our last boss in our boss gauntlet here for EnsignWesley?
Catternook.
Actually, Jex will show us first. And there you go. The Gru Hole himself. Now, taking one character is going to stink because Welk is one of those bosses. It's very easy. But if you don't defeat him on the first 2 turns, then he goes in his Gru Hole and it's just a waste of time. However, with this Flare proc, I think
Flare
we'll
might
see
do it.
There it is. Nuff, Jigglypuff. There goes Welk.
Bolt Edge.
Ooh.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, so Bolt Edge, the shell absorbs lightning attacks, so the shell will only counterattack if it's damaged. Keyword damaged there. So you don't get damaged by bolt attacks, so Bolt Edge is the way to go. However, after looking at the 2 damages, that was only about 1,500 from his Shadow. Meanwhile, Jex is already done with the Snail. And we got a tight race here because we got a bit more damage coming out from Jexvrok, at least from that particular fight. However, it looks like his Realm and Mog party is at level 33 and 30 respectively. So this middle group is going to be a bit more of a slog, so we'll see how much time it takes Jexvrok to catch up here. Wesley, meanwhile, taking out his last boss in the gauntlet, and he'll be ready for Kefka.
Yes, indeed. He is done. And his levels look pretty good. So I see a level 40 Shadow, and I think his Realm and his who else is he using? Locke? Edgar? One of them, yeah, they're also at a level, and should be good. 43 even for Locke.
Yep. Yeah, so both of our runners found that Ragnarok in the weapon shop. Both of our runners have Shadow using Throw, and both of our runners have Fire 3 spells for their third party members. So this is going to come down to execution and RNG, I guess, a little bit. Although I did see 80-something magic power realm from EnsignWesley, so definitely has the advantage there in terms of the third party member for sure.
Jexvrok validating his run with the meme chest. Thank you, sir. Wesley taking a fair bit of time to set up his party, so giving that time back to Jexy, although Jexy has to get through this hide and fight, and it is not free.
No, he does have fire, which is one of Hayden's weaknesses, but Hayden also has 4 other Hyde Knights, and they can all attack you with very fun things. And I use that in quotation marks, as you could tell.
Yeah. Confu Claw is my favorite.
Yeah. I like how Hayden will revive your dead party member as a zombie even before you have a turn to give them a Phoenix down. That's not going to matter, though. 4 turns and that fight is done. Wesley is on the switches at 109.50. So just for reference, that is a 10-minute and 30-second Kefka Tower. Extremely fast getting that skip right to the statues.
Yeah, that just goes to show you the power of that skip. Jexy not far behind him. Maybe 45 seconds or so.
Yeah, so as terms of party composition, whoever is in your 4th slot when you go up against Final Kefka here will go first on tiers 2, 3, and 4. However, since we've been basically using 3 party members all seed, if we don't fill anybody in, we're just going to get random people going. And it looks like Wesley did put Locke in the 4th slot and put the Meat Shield in the 2nd slot. I like that a lot. Because now Locke is always going to go first on these other turns as opposed to the random corpse of whoever decides to sub in.
Yeah. So Jexy now on the switches too.
1 minute difference.
Yep. So
60 seconds right now is what separates our 2 runners after all of the different things that have happened in the seed. It's going to come down to, execution and who's got the stronger offense. Quad 9's coming out there from Realm, which you expect with a magic power of over 80. And we'll see how our runners decide to do it. That's 2 out of the 3 parts down on tier 1 for Wesley.
And Jex just has to hit start. And there he is.
Yeah, so I think Jex, although he started afterwards, his Mog is actually useful. Because he's in the lower 30s in terms of levels, and he actually learns some spells versus a completely useless Edgar over on EnsignWesley's side. So this will be the difference. Can Jex make up the time with a party of 4 versus a party of 3 here? So Wesley is on to tier 2, and it looks like Jexvrok is taking care of business with Long Arm, susceptible to instant death, and is going to take down the face as to not get quaked. And it's already 2 of the 3 parts dead for Jexvrok. We'll see if we can get, a nice permamorph going for Mog. If your morph time bar runs out in between the transitions between tiers 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 or whatever, or if your character is stopped or asleep when the bar runs out, then your character will be in a permanently morphed state. So we'll see if he pulls this off here. If this is the glancing blow, It
Nice.
looks like he's got his permamorph, so that is definitely a good thing for Jexvrok. Meanwhile, Wesley pulling out Siren to mute magic. I don't know if Jexvrok found that particular Esper in his run.
Yeah, I
Was
do
that the
not recall.
Was that the Ebbett's Rock Esper, I wonder? Because that would make it an advantage for Wesley. Yep, so Edgar being imped is not a big deal, so we're not even going to bother using a green cherry on Edgar.
Yeah, the only thing that Edgar's useful for is weight tricking, so...
Yeah, he'll be the person in tier 3, maybe, to cast some healing spells or whatever. Some more instant death tools is out of the equation for Jexvrok. And it looks like we have just 2 of the 4 parts up for EnsignWesley. That is hit and magic. And magic is, you know, not doing much after they've been muted, so...
He's hanging out.
Yep.
Maxing, relaxing, all cool and all.
Is there basketball in Final Fantasy lore? Is there any game that has...
I don't know, but I mean, the Da Vinci Rush is in Final Fantasy VI, so that means that Da Vinci was in Final Fantasy.
It's just like Santa Claus is canon in Secret of Mana. That's like one of my favorite parts of the game where you have to... Anyway. That's a different JRPG. And wow, so much damage coming out from EnsignWesley here. Which
And
will make it hard
to... getting imped.
Yeah. So this is part of where the RNG comes in, right? So Jexvrok's had to waste a turn figuring out how to, you know, make Realm not sing any Cranberries songs with Zombie. So...
That's a good song, though, you know.
It is. I like it. The cover, the new one, not so much. And I know
Yeah.
that's a hot take, but that's fine.
That I think that might be a hot take. I don't know. Some people really like that one, but nothing compares to the original.
So Wesley's party is looking a little sus here with their health, and Merton with a multi-kill there. So Locke is going to have to gather up that party once again, and this is going to give Jex some time to catch up. Here comes the 10 hits. Yeah, so I think you just leave Edgar on the floor, or whatever that duck-looking thing is that is supposed to be Edgar.
Does Wesley have like Fenrir or Golem? Jesus.
I know Jexvrok does have Golem. That was the Esper I think we found at the end of Mount Zozo. So Wesley does not have Golem.
So in that case, I would want to pick up Edgar because that is just another calmness target.
That is a great call. I didn't even think about that. So we do have a couple of other things that we can do. We'll see if we have the Vanish spell, which will turn our characters into the clear status, or the Vanish status, which means physical attacks will always miss, however magical attacks will always hit. So we'll have to count some damage, and it looks like here comes the Imp, up from the dead. Meanwhile, Jexvrok moving on to tier number 3 with all of his characters with 4-digit HP levels. Much better state here to start off this part of the fight.
Yeah, so even an opening Merton here from on Jexvrok's side isn't going to kill anybody. So yeah, big advantage.
An opening Worldy Wind, however, thankfully missed most of the party. Alright, so EnsignWesley does have life 3, so he can use that as calmness protection. However, that's going to take some more time to set up. You have to cast it on every single one of your party members. And it's also not guaranteed calmness protection, because if you get hit twice, and Sleep always knows.
Yeah.
Or at least it seems that way. Ooh. Some big spells coming out here. However, 3 of his 4 party members are low on health. That is Calmness and the Imp Edgar with the clutch block. Oh man,
that could have gone very sideways for Wesley.
Yep, if after that Aura Lance throw he counters with Meteo, that's 3 of his 4 party members susceptible to being wiped there, and we're up to tier 4 for Wesley now. They are going to be... Imp costumes will be selling out of your Spirit Halloween stores near you. Meanwhile, that is Meteo here for Jexvrok, so he's not very far behind.
You love to see it.
And here comes the Calmness, and oh my goodness, we are neck and neck here, folks. Yeah, so Wesley with Final Kefka now. He will cast Fallen One after his first turn. We do have our Edgar, who will be helping out, finally, with some stuff. But oh no, he did too much damage. We skipped the Fallen One phase, and we're right up to Goner. So he is going to decide to heal one of his party members with Edgar to survive this Goner. Shadow, unfortunately, will not be surviving it, and we'll see how much damage he can get done in this phase. Meanwhile, Jexvrok has 4 characters compared to Wesley's 3, and yep, so Shadow will eat this instead of dealing damage this turn. I'm fine with that because he probably wasn't going to kill him before this Goner anyway, and it's much easier to recover with your party members up than your party members down.
Okay, I was about to ask if Jexy got the Fallen One skip, but he did not.
No, and I don't think he picked up that Mega Elixir in the Phoenix Cave chest, because he didn't go to Phoenix Cave.
That's right.
Alright, so it looks like we got a train on EnsignWesley's screen. He's going to have to recover here with some Echo Screens and some eye drops, maybe, for Locke. That is a pitiful cure spell.
Yeah, so... there's not a whole lot of healing that Jexvrok has available. I saw one
elixir.
One elixir, yeah.
But Life 2 is a great cure spell, and we'll see if he's got that.
One of the best.
Yeah, so now's the choice. Who does he put the elixir on? Does he put it on Shadow, who's got throw? Nope, because he's gonna die. Does he put it on Mog with Morph? I think that's probably the smart choice here. Oh, swing and a miss from Wesley on that Ragnarok during the charge up for Goner. So we'll see if he decides to take off a shield here. And it looks like he's gonna heal his entire party.
Jexy in kind of a rough spot right now.
He will have 1 party member left alive. It looks like he's going to try and bring them up. Second Goner going off for EnsignWesley here. Does connect finally with the Ragnarok, and that's going to do it.
Wow.
Whew. 121-14 for Wesley. He is your winner.
What a great race.
GG's to him. Meanwhile, we're seeing what Jexvrok can do here. Goner does do split damage, so if you have more than 1 party member up, it will do less damage to each of your characters. So Locke can probably tank another Goner. We're going to get a whole round of turns here, so we'll see if Jex has enough damage to defeat Kefka on this, and that Pearl proc is, That's gonna help. Yep. That Flare proc is definitely going to help. There goes the Lance. And that's it!
And that's crack pow.
Oh, 122.08. Wow. And great times as well.
What a phenomenal race.
Yeah, so go give our runners a follow. Jexvrok and EnsignWesley.
Absolutely. We'll just More than
Well,
deserving of it.
we'll pull them both in here at the same time. Wesley, congratulations on moving on. Awesome job. And Jexvrok, also awesome job with this race, persevering after a really, really rocky start. So congrats to you both on finishing the seed.
GG's.
Thank you, GG. This was a really close one. So what happened with you, Jevrox?
Well, I decided right out of the gate, because we had Mog, I went up to Kefka at Narsh to go grab Mog's thing, which was a dead check, and I saw Realm sitting there. And I thought the treasure house in Narsh was a little better than what it was, and it wasn't. The fight was cranes, and I took down one of the cranes, and I got pretty close to the second one, but I just couldn't clinch it. So I died. And I lost probably a good 5 minutes from that, if not more.
Oh man, that's sad to hear. You probably would have had it if it wasn't for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, the seed was pretty smooth for me overall, but I played it really safe.
Well, once I hit ate that death on cranes, I just went into overdrive to just try and make up for all that lost time. Like, I did not do anywhere near as much looting as I normally do for starters. And it was just go. If somebody died in the party during the fight, I left them and just killed the guy, got the EXP on the one character, and just kept moving.
Yeah. 122 is a pretty good time if you had a 5-minute loss like that at the start. That's a really damn good time, actually. Yeah, I found earrings in Narsh right away, and I just went with it from there as well. I didn't really loot much.
On top of it, I ran into every statue and Guardian.
Yeah,
and
that was
Doomgaze.
awful.
Yeah. That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Is like, how did you feel just running into all of the really nasty stuff, like about midway through your seed?
There was a lot of eye rolling here. Like, really? Come on.
Also, with the Coliseum, when your character decides to cast Pep Up.
Oh yeah, let's not forget about that one. That was annoying.
Oh man, you guys are making me feel like I just got lucky on this win.
When that happened, I went into the Coliseum, had Pep Up, but I also had the Ragnarok. I'm like, he's got 4 lore plus the Ragnarok. There's a low chance of him doing this. And right out of the gate, Pep Up. I'm like,
Coliseum AI gonna AI. But Wesley,
Indeed.
so on your end of things, you had a lot of trouble finding your last Esper, right? You went up to Umaro's cave and you got Edgar in the hopes that, hey, I could open up my check pool wider than Burning House or Phoenix Cave to get my final Esper. And of course, you go down the Edgar path and it's Gao right away and you reset out of it. Did you think to yourself, it's faster for me to take a roll of the dice in Phoenix Cave than to go get Gao and then potentially do the Velt and still not get my last Esper there?
Yeah, I remember I had peaked Edgar. Well, I thought I did in Narsh, but and he was at the Umaro, but I was only 50% sure it was this seed or if it was the last one. So I said, I'm just going to do it anyway because I'm only 50-50 sure that that's a character because my memory's bad. And then I hit Edgar and I said, well, it'll open up more checks if it's worst comes to worst and it is Edgar. And I said, and I really didn't want to do Phoenix Down or Burning House. So that's why I went down that path. It was probably the wrong play. I was thinking about it. I'm not sure how long Phoenix Cave takes on average, probably 4 minutes or so.
That's about right.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and I guess doing the Edgar with the Yeti, warp stoning out, and then going into Figaro Castle basement, that's probably more like 5 minutes. So yeah, it probably wasn't the right play, but I was only 50% sure I had peaked the Edgar before. I didn't write it down. So that's why I went with it. I went with that strategy, or went with that route.
Yep, your realm was also spitting fire literally at the end of the seed. You had over 80, I think, magic power with the Fire 3 spell. And you decided to take her over Mog right away. Was that just because of the magic power advantage that Realm brings to the table?
Completely because of the magic power. It was 39 magic power versus 55. Even though Mog had the morph, I figured the 55 magic power would be more useful over the course of the entire race.
Yeah, and then Jex, in the final battle, you got the permamorph going after the first tier, sending
heck
Realm and
yes.
Mog up the middle to get them with more levels. So tell us a little bit about that. Was that your strategy for doing Kefka's Tower?
Yeah, I wanted to do the 4-character strat. I mean, like, on the plus side, I knew all the really, really bad bosses were gone. The only one that was left was Stooges that would have provided a problem. But aside from that,
And Magi Master, of course.
oh, I forgot about Magi Master. Ooh, that could have been bad.
Yeah, well, we were here in the booth going, well, we've seen all of the bad bosses. KT is going to be a cakewalk, and then we're like, well, actually.
Where was the goddess and the spicy chicken? I didn't run into those.
So
Goddess
Goddess
was at the end of Magic, or first boss of Magitech 3,
All right.
and then
Poltergeist
Spicy
was at
Chicken.
Doma Siege because Cyan was the reward for the last Magitech check. So it was sequence broken, but you could fight all the really bad bosses in the game, and Jexvrok just happened to pick that path.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
But yeah, this was an incredible final finish, photo finish towards the end of the race. So I am not looking forward, Jex, to racing against you with next week's Setzer flags. And EnsignWesley, you will be going up against Zelfer next week with the Setzer flag. So let's start with you first, Wesley. You got any insights as to what you're going to potentially do for that particular race?
You know what? I've been away this week, so I haven't had much time to practice for work. So
Mhm.
I'm not even familiar with Setzer flags. After this, I'm gonna go read them and figure out what it is I need to do.
It's
what
going to
my
be
strategy is.
Yeah, it's going to be very seed dependent. There's a lot of randomness involved with random prices for items in the shops, random scaling for bosses instead of elemental scaling, random stats for all of the characters, random items that you get from Coliseum. So and bosses are random versus shuffled. So I think a lot of it's going to depend on the seed. I don't know how we're going to practice for this one.
There
know
is a
what?
chance, a very,
might-
very slim chance with those random boss encounters that everyone is Magi Master.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Oh boy.
It could happen.
Sounds like my strategy is then to get lucky.
You know, sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good.
Work tonight. I normally check MTech. I just didn't for this whatever reason, just based on the flags. Jevrox, you did check it in.
Yep.
That's probably what made well, there was the 5-minute the start too, but
What was at the end of MTech? Was that Cyan?
That was
Yeah,
Cyan.
that was Cyan
Cyan.
at the end of MTech.
So you got Cyan and EnsignWesley got Strago. So we were saying I'd much rather have Cyan for his checks than Strago's checks, right? Because you did Fanatics Tower and you did Ebbets Rock, which Jex got to avoid both of those. So
what about Phoenix?
and Phoenix Cave too. So you did a lot
I had the
longer
slow
checks. Yeah.
You had the
I
hard
stayed away
bosses.
from the Phoenix Cave. I stay away from that thing like the plague.
I tried to stay away from it so much that I even made a bad call, taking
Yep.
Edgar over just doing it. So, yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I will take Leet River over Phoenix Cave any day.
Right.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
let's ask. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say to me the seed felt very like there was only one path. I guess that's because I forgot about the wire remove on the MTech being an option. I actually would have done that in hindsight instead of the Phoenix Cave. So, whoops.
Yep. So let's pivot to you, Jack. So does doing things like the draft async and all of the fun chaos seeds that you usually roll, do you think that's going to prepare you well for Setzer's flag sets next week?
Oh, absolutely. did you see this week's weekly draft?
I didn't get to run it yet, so don't spoil it for me. But it's a doozy.
Oh yes, it is. I mean, like, just to give an idea of some of the flags that I deal with, that actually prepares me for the chaos of the Coliseum. The weekly draft this week ended up having barter shops, so they're 100% random, but everything costs 2,000 GP and sells for 1,000 GP. So we got the smart idea for drafting. Who was it? The Schwantz, right?
Yep, I did no chests.
Yep.
Chests are empty.
Empty chest. Came from the Schwantz. And then I had to write a idea of giving us an austere start, which is we start with 2 characters, no money, no gear, and one of those characters is the Yeti.
I think it's 5,000 gold, so we could essentially buy
5,000.
we could buy 2.5 items at the start of the seed. So it'll be interesting. I was going to draft a nice start with 50,000 gold and say, hey, you could buy 25 things, but you probably can't buy more than that. But yep, that's
Yeah, I said no.
Thanks. So thank you for that. So yeah, it'll be a great race. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be just like doing Ultras League Season 1 again, when we're battling to see who gets into the Mega Elixir spot, right?
Oh yes.
So EnsignWesley, any other final thoughts on the seed before we let you go?
Nope. It was a straightforward race for me. GG, Jevrox. Sorry about what happened to you at the beginning there. Sounds like it would have been yours if it wasn't for that.
Thank you. It happens.
Yeah. So
All
Jex,
right.
any other final thoughts from you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
So, any first-time viewers that happen to like Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide and what we do here, check out ff6wc.com. Give our racers and our restreamers a follow. And also, in regards to joining our Discord, we have a wonderful community. We're all willing to help you out, learn the things here, and all that fun stuff. So come in, say hello, and have some fun.
All right, awesome. I want to thank
Absolutely.
both of you for allowing us to rebroadcast your race. Can't have these events without the racers, so thank you again for allowing us to show you off. Appreciate it.
Yep,
All right.
GG's.
All right, good luck in round 2 to both
GGs.
of you. Actually, to neither of you, because I'm going up against one of you. So good luck to me.
Good luck to you too.
All right, and we'll see you guys
Y'all
on the
take
next
care.
time.
See ya.
All right, Gar. Well, that was an exciting double feature of Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. The Coliseum is now officially complete for round number 1. Let's take a look at the bracket here. I said let's take a look at the bracket. There we go. So in the upper bracket here, we do see that now Zelfer will be going up against EnsignWesley in round number 2. And in the lower bracket, I will be facing off, there's me, the Schwantz 27, against Jexvrok in this particular match. So that will all be coming to you next week. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing Setzer's Flag, which is a bunch of randomness. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. And yeah, you got any other final thoughts here, Gar? Before I say that, actually, thank you for helping me do commentary for these both races. This was a lot of fun.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, Schwantz.
Okay.
Thank you for restreaming and tracking and doing the commentary. It is a very tiresome job, even more so when you've got a doubleheader. But thanks for persevering. Thanks for being my bud. Thanks to all of our racers tonight, Flurry 14, Jamie in, Jexvrok, and EnsignWesley for putting on 2 great races for us. I hope you all enjoyed.